Okay, let's start.
Okay, hello guys. This is episode 3 of the Endless Possibilities podcast with myself, Gareth, and Eva.
Hello, we finally have a name. We finally have a great name. Endless
Yes,
possibilities.
yeah, really good, really good. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We asked a lot of the members. Eva has a group and I have a group, and we posted that people could ask us questions, and today's format's going to be a Q&A all around spiritual awakening, healing, all these topics, and we have a big list of questions that we're going to get through. Yeah, so have you anything you want to add, Eva, to this?
Yeah, so everybody who sent the questions, thank you very much. They're like very, very different ones, like totally different ones. You'll see very interesting ones as well. So thank you for the questions.
Yeah, and I'm sure, so you've gotten questions from people in your group, and then I've probably gotten a sort of a different topic of questions as well. So we'll read them out, and then we'll both give our perspective on some of it. Is that the way you want to work?
Yeah. So we just talk about, like, you read out the question, we just talk about it.
Okay, so I'll do one, and then you can go for the second. Okay, perfect. So the first one I have is this path as a healer possible for someone who is willing to do the work?
Okay, very interesting question. I mean, okay, willing to do what kind of work? So that's the first question I just want to talk about. So on the one hand, we have the awakening, and on the other hand, there is like healing the human system, right? And how I see this is everybody has some kind of skills. They are more than everybody knows, right? And by doing the kind of work, like going on a spiritual path, awakening consciousness, and then also doing the healing work, these gifts will reveal themselves. So they will just open up, and everybody has unique gifts. So nobody's the same, basically. So yeah, that's how I see it. And it's possible for everybody. Like if you do the work, yes, you can open up and receive your gifts, or not receive them, but like unreveal them. Yes.
Yeah, so what I would say to that is that everybody's able to exercise, okay, but not everybody's going to get up at 6 a.m. and go exercise, are they, Eva?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. So I mean, it's possible for everybody, okay, but it's like it's a calling as well.
Yes, it's a calling. It's a calling as well. I mean, it always depends. Like, do you want to learn something, or do you want to, what's the word? Like, if you want to reveal your own skills, is that the right way to say develop? Yeah, reveal them. So you can learn certain skills from teachers, right? And you can practice them. And if you practice a lot, you're probably really good at it. Or you can reveal your own skills. But often when I talk to people who I'm working with, who are healers or who have learned different practices, if they like clear their system more, just more stuff is gonna come in for them to do. So it's like opening up already. Yeah, so they have already a skill set, but then new skills are coming in, and they're like their own skills, basically. Yes.
Yeah. So I would say that anybody, pretty much anybody with good intent can do healing work. Okay, they can get in, and they can pretty much use their intent, because it's all about intent. And if you have the right tools and you know how to use your intent, you can make change in people's systems. But at the same time, it's sort of like, it's what's getting in the way of you being a good healer, okay? And usually it is that you need to do the healing on yourself first before you can become a really good healer and heal other people.
Yes, because first of all, you have still wounding in yourself, right?
Yeah.
And the way is, okay, why do I want to heal people? Why do I want to help people? It often has to do because I want to feel fulfilled, or I want to be someone who helps. You know, it's always about me, or it can be about me, right? And yeah, I mean, I guess that's it's still nice, you're still helping and still doing the work, but it's not like free. It's not from a place
Yeah.
where you're totally free. Yes.
Yeah, and I actually find this one quite fascinating. It's because the ego it can take many different forms, and it can be nice, and it can be timid, and it can be helpful. It's not just negative, you know. The ego is not just negative, and the ego can shape shift its identity into all of these different different forms, you know. And one of the forms is the awakened ego, or the healing ego. And do you want to just talk a little bit about that, Eva? It's like, what is the intent behind? Okay, so firstly, yeah, what is the intent behind wanting to heal somebody?
Wanting to fix something that's broken.
Wanting to fix or heal.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, that's the intent, like wanting to fix that something is broken. So that means as a healer, I think something is broken, and that's why I need to fix it.
Yeah.
But in the end, there is like nothing is really broken. It just needs to be like cleared, if that would be the better word, you know, like everything is perfect as it is, just certain things are in the way and they need to be cleared. And it's not on the healer, on me to decide if the person is broken or, you know, what to heal. The person needs to be open and needs to also want this to be healed and cleared, basically.
Yeah, and what's
that does
you know, no, that makes sense. And what's the distinction between meddling, getting involved in something that you shouldn't? Because, okay, so firstly, let me just talk about as I was going through my spiritual awakening, I used to be taught in the dream state. So I would find myself in these situations where certain scenarios were presented to me, and I would have to make a decision. Okay. And I remember one of them was I found myself walking along this path, and at one side of the path there was a field, and there was a fence separating the path where I was walking, and a calf had somehow gotten out. And I walked down and I came across the calf, and I picked it up in my arms, and I thought, wow, okay, I'm helping this calf. And I walked over and I put the calf back over the fence into the field. And I thought I had done a really, really great job. And then I walked further down the pathway, and I got around the corner, and I met this old man, and he goes, I seen you helped the calf. And I said, yeah, great, wasn't it? And he goes, look up at the front. And on the front where we had turned, there was like a factory, and over the factory sign was slaughterhouse.
All right.
So I had picked up the calf thinking I was helping, and I had put it back into where the slaughterhouse was.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
So this was a big learning lesson for me, is like, when do I get involved? Okay, here's me thinking that I know what's best, and I don't really know what's best, do I?
No, definitely not. No. And yeah, that's a very, very interesting and very good dream you just shared. Yeah, so definitely how I see this, from where I just work, I always work for the highest good of the person. And some things just can't be taken away. Some things can't be fixed because it's not the right time, basically. People have certain learnings, or, you know, the soul just needs to experience certain things in this life experience. Yeah, so you can't interfere with that.
Okay, and just to go a little bit further on that, Eva, pain and suffering is sometimes our greatest teacher, and it's sometimes what's needed to teach us lessons. And where do we draw the line in taking away someone's lessons, like us taking away pain or suffering from that person, and then them not learning a lesson?
I feel like people come when they are ready so that it can be taken away.
Yeah.
So I never had anybody where I was taking away lessons. I don't think. No, they come and I only see it. Like, I only get shown what to take away when it's supposed to be taken away.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can't just take randomly stuff out of people's system.
Exactly.
No.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And sometimes, like, we don't always have all of the answers. And sometimes that some people just suffering is part of what they need to go through at a certain stage, and that suffering can bring them to something, you know, greater, or, you know, a greater realization through that suffering.
Yes, I mean, you shared before that a lot of people who are on the spiritual path, they're there because they're suffering, right?
Exactly.
So it's a certain kind of motivation to wanting to get rid of the suffering, and then looking for something else, and then looking for, you know, spiritual awakening, or what else is out there. So it definitely helps in a certain kind of way. But yeah, it's also annoying because we rather feel nice, right?
Oh,
So what
yes.
can you do?
We all want to feel nice, and we don't want to go through the suffering. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add to that, or should we move on to the next question?
No, I think, can you read out the question again, just if I see if something else pops up?
So, is this path as a healer possible for someone who is willing to do the work?
Okay. I mean, something that you just said before, and this comes up again for me, and I just want to say it again. There will be a calling if this is something you're supposed to do. Because if you don't have that calling, then you're not following your own inner truth, your own inner path, because everybody has a unique one, and maybe one is a healer and the other one, I don't know, awakens Kundalini, and the next one, you know, gives the Sat force, can give the Sat force. So I guess there are just a lot of different ways how to serve humanity, and yeah. So
yeah, I like that,
a lot of different ways.
And sometimes your own set of skills are going to develop, and most of the times they're going to be very different to what you imagine them to be. It's never what you think that they're going to be, right?
Yes, exactly. And a lot of things you did throughout life are building up to that, what you then are doing in the future, or what your skill set is, or what your ability is, or what you're supposed to do. So even things you did 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it all builds up, if it's your calling, and then you have the skill set. Yes, in preparation. Exactly.
Yeah, it's like being you know, you're being schooled for something greater.
Yes.
Yeah. So you may find yourself in a job that, you know, you don't really know why you're doing it, but you're actually learning a really useful skill set.
Exactly. And that's also something very interesting you just said, because a lot of people say, oh, I'm not happy with my job, but why am I still doing this job? And yeah, I mean, mostly there's a learning behind it. There's a learning, either you learn skills, or you just need to overcome something. That's why you're in there. So like seeing life from that perspective, what can I learn, or what can I, you know, take away, like for myself from that situation? I mean, it's just a mindset, but it helps so much to be okay with what's going on if you're not already. Yeah.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah.
Do you want to read out your next question?
Yes. So the next one is, okay, the question is, maybe there's a question where you can share the value of mantras and rudrakshas. I really like this one because I just want to show the rudrakshas.
Yeah.
There's one. There is one, for example, if people don't know what it is. There's the Siddhamala. Yeah. And I like this question because especially this one was very helpful for me. And that's why I thought we should maybe talk about it. Can you just describe it a little bit, because you're really good at it? You talk about it quite a lot.
Okay, so the Rudraksha malas basically have the ability to hold certain frequencies, and one of the great things about them is that they can hold Shakti. And when I do a Shakti Pad intensive, I will take the malas, and there's all different types of malas, and I will sit with them and meditate with them and charge them with Shakti. And then what happens is when the people leave the retreat, they go home and they take their mala out of their bag, and when they sit in meditation, they'll wear it. And it you know, the Shakti then can be reabsorbed from the mala into the body. It won't stay in it all, you know, forever. It'll only kind of hold that charge for a certain number of weeks, and then your system will take it in. But the faces, so the Rudruksha malas go from, they have these tiny little etches along the beads, and each one does something different. And the most common one is a 5-faced Rudruksha mala, the 5-faced mukti, and they're just everywhere. These are the ones that you can buy the malas for, like, you know, $9-10, and they go all the way up to like 21 and maybe a little bit higher. And the ones that I found were really useful were the Siddha malas, and I think they went from
1 to
face,
14.
1 to 14.
I show it again.
I had a 1 to 16, and
Okay.
And when it was shown to me, I just had the normal ones in the beginning, and somebody showed me one of them and they were wearing them. And then I went on to Amazon and I looked at it, I found the picture of it, and I looked at the picture, and all of a sudden I just felt crazy energy coming in through the top of my head. And I went, oh, you know, is that related? So what I did is I swiped off the picture of the mala, and then the energy went. And I went, oh, and then I went back to the picture of it. So I was getting a transmission just from the picture of the mala.
Yeah, fascinating.
Fascinating, yeah. Right? So I ordered it, and when I ordered it, I actually received 2 by mistake, and I ended up paying for the second one and keeping the 2 of them. And I found them really, really useful, and I eventually started wearing 3 of them. Yeah. So they can be really, really useful. It feels like they're doing something in your system, especially for the first 2 weeks, right?
Oh, you just cut off. Can you say it again?
Yeah, sorry. So I said that they feel really when you start wearing them, they feel like they're doing something for the first 2 weeks.
Yes. So I also have a few more, because I also got the information to wear 3. So I just wore
that's what, like, I got.
Just for a bracelet. And when I got it, I remember I did the bigger one. I, like, for the first 2 days when I was wearing it, I had to take it off like every now and then, because it was so strong, like on my system was just so strong.
And this is without Shakti, right?
Yeah, this was even without Shakti.
They weren't even charged.
Exactly. It's just the power of the beats. And for a time, like period, probably about 2 weeks, a lot of stuff came up for me to be seen. So it was also a tool for clearing, basically. So that's why I can really recommend it, because you get the clearing effect, and then also all the beats, they have different kind of meanings,
like a different frequency,
like,
almost.
Health, like in different areas of life, like or what humans find interesting. So health, job, family, like also all
relationships,
also all sorts of spiritual stuff as well. And so they're like also little lucky charms in a kind of way. So I really like them.
And pretty trendy. That one's quite nice.
Yes,
I like the look of it. Yeah,
that one's really cool. And also when you used to charge them at the retreats, like when I was still wearing them, I mean, I could feel them for quite a while. Going back home and meditating on them, it stayed, I can't say how long, but I think probably like 1 or 2 months. Wow. The energy definitely stayed in, and then meditating with it's such a cool way to carry the Shakti.
And just to say as well that when I would get them, there'd be sometimes, like the bracelet, for instance, I got the Siddha Mala 1 to 14 bracelet, and although I couldn't wear the mala beads going to bed, I could wear the bracelet, but for the first couple, I couldn't sleep. I just, whatever frequency was coming off this, it was really interfering with my sleep.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, how I see it is like the system starts to adjust to these frequencies, and then I mean, can interfere with the sleep. Or
would you say that you adapt, or you sort of like pull in that frequency from the mala and then it becomes one with you?
Oh second. You become one with it. Yes,
that's what I see. So eventually you'll pull the frequencies from the malas into your system. You will adapt, you will just normalize, climatize, and then eventually you won't have to wear the malas.
Then you don't have to wear them anymore. But it's really nice. It's like also from just point of view, okay, I do my meditation now, I sit down, I put on the mala, you know, it just has this little ritual. It's
Little
just really
ritual.
nice. I mean, there was a time where I wore it like all day long as well, you know, but still, it's just a very nice ritual and a very nice, tool for meditation. So I really enjoyed it, and yeah, I can definitely recommend them.
And I wore mine for about 3 or 4 years, and eventually they started to break. So one or two of them just broke, and I'd fix them, and then they'd break again, and I'd be like, I think it's time to stop wearing them. That's just what I got, and I stopped wearing them. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it was the same for me.
Same time
So
as me,
yeah,
wasn't it, Eva,
it
around
was
the same
around the
time?
same time. Yes. So I just got the information. Okay, I don't need to wear them anymore now. And now I still have them, and they are beautiful. I don't know what to do with them.
And are you gonna put these up on a special website now to sell them? Previously worn by Eva.
I was thinking about it, but you know, maybe I just keep them as a, you know, memory.
Sure.
Of those times.
And the second part of that question was the mantras, Eva.
The
right?
mantras, right? Yeah, the mantras. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you started the thing with the mantras.
Yeah, well, I guess the mantras thing just came in as part of the group, and everybody started doing them, and they really have got some benefit. Like, I mean, and the one I wrote about in my book was the Mahashadasi mantra, and it became so popular. And the poor guy Santosh at Man Blunder, he got inundated, and he's still getting people, you know, going to him to be initiated into the mantra. So the Mahashadasi mantra is part of a Sri Vidya technique of mantras that they start off with, you know, some introduction ones, and then they build after you say it for a certain amount of time, and you have to be initiated in by a guru. They check your system and so on. But Santosh was of the belief that if you're ready, you can just take the main mantra, and he was just giving the main mantra out to everybody. And I was saying it, and what's happening is when you're saying the mantra, and usually the mantras, they relate to different aspects of the Divine Mother, right? It's like they are like related. So the Mahashadasi was related to Lalita, the goddess Lalita, and when you start to recite it, the mantra is the vibration of that goddess. So as you're and the goddesses are Shakti, okay, and this whole thing with spiritual awakening and having the Shakti in your system, you want as much Shakti as you can, and by saying the mantras, you're able to generate. You don't just need to receive Shaktipat from someone, you're generating your own Shakti in your system by using the vibration. And it's sort of like a www. This aspect of the Divine Mother, that's your way of connecting, and then she can descend into your system, and that flavor of her divine Shakti can come in, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you recited this a lot of times, right? Like many times.
I mean, okay, so some people believe that the mantras don't really do anything, that they're just a way of keeping the mind occupied and keeping the thoughts, almost like giving a dog a bone. Like, while you give a dog a bone, he's so busy chewing on it that, he's not interested in anything else. And that's sort of the belief that a lot of people have, that when you start doing a mantra, the mind then is just totally fixated on the mantra, and then everything else just disappears because you're so focused on reciting it and staying with it, and then all of a sudden your whole world disappears, and even the mantra disappears. But this is not the case. This is just from what I just experienced, was that these mantras have a charge, and they are doing something in your system. And I mean, like, the first day I started reciting the Mahashadasi mantra, I had a visitation of Lord Krishna. I was saying it, I was sat there in meditation, and maybe it was the second day, and all of a sudden Krishna appeared in front of me. Now, why Krishna appeared and not the goddess Lalita, I have no idea, because it's a completely different god versus Lalita. And then what happens is, as you start to progress, so in the early days, I started to say like 108 repetitions. We do like a mala. I'd recite 108 times of the mala, counting them on my fingers. and it would take me like 20 minutes to do one. And then like as I got better and better, I mean, I got to something like 3,000 repetitions a day at one point. And I mean, I remember one evening going to bed, and my whole nervous system, my energy body was vibrating and shaking, and I got the feeling that I had overdone it. I lay on the bed, I closed my eyes, and it felt like I was falling through space. I was like, oh my God, like I drank too much alcohol, right? And I was like, oh my God, what has happened? And I felt really uneasy. And the next morning I sat there, I got up, and there was just this buzz of energy in my system, and I closed my eyes, and I was just teleported into this amazing state where there was no time, and everything was this sort of dark light, and there was little specks floating in it, and I was like, what is this place? And I could come out of it. I could open my eyes and I could come back, and it was like everything was so still, and I closed my eyes and I'd go straight back into that place. And then I just got the message that I had received the boon or the gift, whatever, from the mantra. I had gotten the special city from the mantra. Yeah.
Okay, so and then it was it. So that was the task to recite it so many times.
Yeah, I got what I got. Like, I mean, I don't say it anymore. I don't really do as much of the mantras. I still do them maybe if I'm just in a session, because I don't really get much from meditation anymore. And sometimes I'll just recite it because I like the sound. I like how it makes my body feel. Yeah.
Very nice. Very interesting. So because you said some people say mantras don't work, but in your experience they do. So when people recite mantras, I can see the energy coming in. So there's definitely something to it. And I see where the mantra is working in the person's system. And I also know where it's supposed to work and where it's maybe not working. So I can basically move the energy of the mantra in the parts of the body where it's needed. And then the mantra, when it gets recited, it just works in the areas. And it's basically like receiving a transmission, you know, when meditating with somebody, receive a transmission there, you can just draw the transmission in by yourself. So it's a way of, just receiving a transmission. That's how I see it. Yeah. And then, and then also like one time I had a session with somebody, and he wanted to get an initiation into a mantra, but the person or the guy who revealed the mantra has already died. And then I asked the guy if I can, you know, talk to past beings. So I asked if I can, if that guy, that the client can be initiated, and he said yes, and he actually gave him an initiation in that session, and that was really cool. And then seeing the difference, he was reciting the mantra afterwards, and seeing the difference, that was totally different. The energy was coming in totally different. He felt it a lot stronger. And so initiation, that's the only initiation I saw so far.
So Eva, I can see your inbox been really busy on Monday morning from a whole lot of the mantra.
I mean, I have to say, I've never really recited mantras. So I also asked for the Mahashadasi mantra, and I got the Siddhi mantra first. So this is like a version you need to do before. And I just did this one for 2 weeks, and that was it. Then I stopped. So it wasn't my thing, but these 2 weeks I really liked it, and it really helped to drop deeper in meditation. So I could feel there was definitely something to it. But then it was just not my thing.
Because and okay, so would you say that they're necessary? No, obviously.
No, I would say if people feel drawn to it because there's something to it, then do it definitely, but not just because other people do it. Because there's probably something better for you to do then, you know?
Exactly.
Like I always tell people, really go with your gut feeling if you can listen to intuition, you know, choose whatever serves you, because just doing things because other people are doing it, you know, doesn't mean that it works for you. I mean, I know there are times where people are not so aware of what serves them or what not. And then I guess it's good to do something somebody recommends you like, or you like to listen to. But otherwise do what feels right.
Okay.
definitely.
So are we clear on that? Or is there anything else you want to add to it?
No, I think
Okay.
we talked
Okay,
about this.
I'll go to the next one. So I watched your last interview and was really interested in the topic of using triggers to gauge our progress. Can you talk further on this? I think this is really good.
Okay.
This was one of my favorite things we talked about, Eva. Yeah, so using the triggers as a gauge.
Yes.
So, okay, firstly, what are our triggers? What's the trigger showing us in our systems, Eva?
Yeah, I mean, actually, we talked about it the last time a little bit already.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why the person asked the question, right? So for me, a trigger is something that's still there's. It shows us there is still something in us that's unresolved.
Okay.
And a trigger is something basically external, felt external, that comes towards us and then triggers this unresolved stuff, and it comes up. So that's how I see what a trigger is. How do you see it?
Yeah, so I would totally agree with that.
Yeah.
So there's something that we either dislike or we don't agree with, or we have a certain idea or beliefs about how something should be. And when this is relayed to us, or this information comes to us, there's something in opposition to it, or there's some core wounding at the center. And just for instance, I had a session with someone the other day, and they were at a ceremony, and there was some men at the ceremony, and just by the men being at a predominantly female ceremony, a lot of the women got triggered by men just being there, and they didn't even do anything. It was just the fact that there was men there, where mainly it would be just women. So can you talk just a little bit about that? Because I thought that was really useful.
Yeah. So about this situation, I mean, what do you mean exactly? So about the trigger.
About the trigger, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if you say trigger, and what we just talked about, what comes into my mind is, for example, I was at one of your retreats, and people can trigger each other at retreats. This is very normal, because that's why we're there. Basically, we're in this energy, and the energy helps us to evolve and transform, right? And if there is something not of the highest truth in our system, it can get shown. I mean, in normal everyday life as well, but also on retreats especially, or let's say in a meditation group, or, because that's why people go there. You go to a meditation group or to a retreat to clear your system, to get more aware and awaken consciousness and stuff like that. So that's the setting. It's set up for that.
The setting is set up for that, right? And then everybody's holding up a mirror to one another. They're mirroring back what's unresolved in them.
Yeah, I mean, that happens every day in normal life as well, right? That's how life works. But especially at retreats, because the setting is there for that, right? And so I can just share one experience. I mean, there was this one retreat, and you really triggered me, and I just want to share.
I have a gift of being able to trigger people. It's one of my talents.
Yeah, and it's just so fascinating, because I came in the morning, I sat down on my chair, and you asked me actually a very innocent question. You just asked if I'm going to stay longer, like after the retreat, for 1 or 2 days, or if I will go home right away, and if I have time to spend with everybody. And for some reason, how you said it and how you looked at me, I got so triggered, and I don't even know why. Just some stuff came up. And then there was the meditation, and I could feel it cooking in my system, right?
Oh, wow.
And while the meditation happened, it was cooking and cooking, then it was coming out. So I was actually crying. It just needed to come out. So because I mean, it's your retreat, right? And you're the guru, basically. You trigger stuff in people. You help them. I know you helped me in that kind of way, although you didn't do anything. But just you asked the right question, or you looked at me with how I needed it, so that stuff can come up. And then during the meditation, I was crying and stuff, so that came up and it was cleared. And then I was fine again, but it had to come out, So
and Eva, so again, this is something that I'm completely oblivious to, right? It's like uh, I have no idea what's going on in people's systems, and
Yeah.
it's almost like we spoke a little bit about at certain levels. Then the guru or the teacher, the forces that come in will actually set up these situations or scenarios, because this is not all about just sitting there in bliss, right? It's not about just going and feeling good and everything being fixed. It's about uncovering everything that's untrue in your system, the untruths,
Yes,
for truth
exactly.
consciousness to come in.
Yeah.
And the whole, like, the guru is what triggers this in people's
Yes.
system, and the guru is the energy, right?
Hmm.
It's not the human form.
No, it's not a human form. And that's what I know, people can mistake that, because you say something and if they're not aware of it, they feel triggered by you, you know?
My person.
Yeah, your
Yeah.
person, and then they may be annoyed with you
And
or
my
something
person is
like that.
great, Eva, isn't it? It's really nice.
Yeah.
Everybody loves me. I couldn't do anything wrong.
No, but that's true. Like it's that's very true. It's more like, okay, if the person wouldn't have a trigger in them, it wouldn't be a problem what you say. Like
Exactly.
we talked about it also the last time. If you say something even not nice, right, and the person doesn't have a trigger in them, they wouldn't react. But often it's like, mostly it's even this the unconscious, the subconscious stuff. Like they don't even know that it's there. You don't, of course you don't know. You just have a conversation, or you just say something in a kind of way. The other person gets triggered, and then it pops up. Then it's
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, just to give an example, in Portugal, there's a very, very, very good friend of mine. I'm sure he won't mind me talking about this because he knows I love him. I made some comment. I walked over and I thought, oh, he's got a really nice T-shirt on, and it had a brand. I said, oh, I love your branded logo. And I thought nothing of it, walked off, and apparently that had sent him into, like,
Yeah.
he sat there thinking, oh my God, does Gareth think I'm wearing these logos now? Or, and
Yeah.
it just, whatever that comment had been spoken about, it gave him whatever it needed to
Yeah. No, but it's actually a really good topic, and to know that if you go to a retreat or in a spiritual group, you can be triggered by members, by other members, or by you, because you're the main person there, right? So you probably trigger the most people in various kind of ways. It can be negative, it can be also positive,
not intentionally. I don't do
Yeah,
it
no, yeah.
intentionally. Yeah.
You're not
Yeah.
intentionally. But this is just your role. So and I think, yeah, if people are more aware of it, if they know, okay, they get triggered by you or somebody else at the retreat, there's a reason for it.
And okay, and just to go back briefly, Eva, you touched on something there. When there is no triggers, when your system is clear, right, that it's just, no matter what's said, it's just going to pass through, right, and it's not going to, there's not going to be anything it hits.
Yes, exactly, because there's nothing there where it can, like, hit on. So it just passes through. And
Passes
it's
through.
like you hear things, what people say, and you just hear it, and that's it. Like there is no, oh, I need to correct this, I want to change it, what they talk is untrue or whatever. That this just doesn't come up. It's just it's a fact. It's just there. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like there's no this. It's like, and when you get to a certain stage, right, there's no needing to correct people, or there's no, like, and for instance, I'm in this Facebook group, okay, and it's another spiritual podcast that's been around for years, and I mean, I've just been in it. I've just been a member of it for I don't know how long, and like every day I see the most. I just see lots of very colorful posts about what enlightenment is, and everybody's arguing, and I actually see some teachers getting involved and getting into discussions about this and giving their opinions, and it just seems to lead to, and like, for me personally, I don't care. I just don't care. I don't care about whatever any people are saying. I just think, yeah, okay, great. I don't need to correct anyone. I don't need to give my opinion. Can
Yes,
you
because
talk a little bit?
everything is perfect as it is, and that's the thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, you don't need to change anything, or the want to change something is not there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Very good. So would you say we've cleared that one, or is there anything else you want to add to it?
can you just read the question
Yeah.
out again?
So I watched your last interview and was really interested in the topic of using triggers to gauge our progress. Okay, so I guess if you're still being triggered, then there's work to do, correct?
Yes,
If we're
and
using
see like
yeah.
if seen in a positive way or just being aware of it. Okay, I'm being triggered in normal
It's
life or in
positive.
spiritual
It's
setting.
positive
It's
then.
positive because then
Yeah.
I can look what the problem is and then try to
So
really
it's our
feel it and yeah.
it's our systems giving us instant feedback to something that's unresolved that needs to
Yes,
be looked at. Okay.
yes, yes.
Perfect.
Yeah, I mean
Perfect.
I really like the question. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Do you want me to do the next one, or do you want to go with your next one? So I have a really
You have a good one?
well, go on, you do your one.
Can you chat about emotions? Why they help when they're on the way? Different aspects. Yeah, in relation to healing and awakening. So emotions, just emotions. Yeah.
I mean, emotions seem to be like a byproduct of thoughts, right? We have a certain set of thoughts, and then the thought manifests in the body as an emotion.
Yeah. So I can just I'll start from how I see it when I like do the healing work. So when we first get born, we are basically very clear. I mean, there are some influences from ancestors and parents, and they're already there, and also past lives. But let's put this aside and start with like this incarnation, this life. And when a certain situation happens, let's say where you experience fear for the first time or joy for the first time, or I don't know, like any kind of emotion for the first time, love, it manifests in the system. So that energy of it is in the system, and from that moment on it starts to play out in different kind of ways. So for example, thoughts can be something that triggers this emotion that came to the system when you were a child, right? Thoughts or certain things we experience throughout the day, whatever, like on our journey of life, they just get triggered and triggered over again, and these are the emotions. So they're just in the system, and it's basically just energy directing us in certain, to move us in certain kind of ways. And yeah, I see it as energy. And there are low vibrational emotions and higher vibrational emotions. And the low vibrational ones are like, anger, guilt, fear, all those kind of emotions. And they hold us like down, they make us small. They stop us from evolving, for example.
Yeah. So okay, just going over them negative emotions. So out of the negative ones, on the flip side, what positive ones are we more
Yeah. Which
yeah,
go to the next one.
are we looking to bring into our systems?
Yeah.
Obviously I
So
can think of one.
yeah, so I always bring in love, light, truth, trust, joy, abundance, and health. So they are for me the high vibrational emotions. They all come from love. So love is the
Love
like
is the top one.
the
Yeah.
top one, and they all come from there. And the goal would be to change the system towards all them I just shared. And everything that's not of them, I would say they're the low vibrational ones, and they can be cleared out of the system in different kind of ways.
Yeah. And after a while, and again, right, as you clear your system, as you heal, as you awaken, they disappear. They don't come up. I don't have them come up in my system.
No, I also don't.
Yeah.
No, so the highest vibration I experience is love, and the lowest is annoyance or stress. So this is like the lowest.
Yeah.
So like from the scale, and before, like I was experiencing all the low vibrations, but now like it doesn't drop any deeper. So annoyance is like annoyed. So that's like the lowest. Yes.
Okay,
And I think
great.
it's very fascinating, you know,
It's
that they can
very
just disappear.
fascinating.
They can
Yeah.
just disappear. Like before they overlap in your life experience, right? The low vibrational emotions. And then one day they're just gone. Yeah.
Yeah, well, and funny that you say that as well, because one of the things that disappeared for me first was fear. And I can remember having fear in my system, you know, fear of feeling silly, fear of, you know, whatever, been, you know, traveling to a foreign city and worrying about it. And when I had my first awakening, literally overnight, all of my fear left my system. It
Oh,
was just
really?
gone, completely
But
gone.
that's really fascinating. Did you ever look into this?
Fascinating.
Why this happened or
No,
how?
no, maybe we can talk about it, yeah, another time.
Yeah.
What it was. Yeah, it just gone. Everything went.
Okay. Because I mean, to me, this must be just grace. Because
Yeah,
how can you like get rid of all the fear in just an instant?
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
because it's yeah.
And again, going from running a business, I had these everyday fears about like worrying about where the next money was going to come from, you know, keeping it going, keeping it alive. And then all of a sudden, you know, my awakening was that supreme being woke up in me, and that fear just wasn't there. It was, I knew what I was, and this
Yeah.
limited human, it just, with fear in its systems, was just a, you know, like a fictional character.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I mean, because you saw the big picture right away,
Big
and
picture
then
right away. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And from the human perspective, of course, all these unknown things, you know, the future and all these things, they are fearful because we don't know what's going to happen. But you said something very interesting in the beginning with the thoughts, because like when there are low vibrational emotions in the system, and then thoughts are arising, and you have negative thoughts, and then they also trigger these low
yeah,
vibrational emotions,
yeah.
and then it's like a circle, right? Then
Vicious
it's
circle.
like a
Yeah,
spiral. Yeah. So yeah, that's, if you have it in the system, you have it in the system. That's it. Like you can't think your way out of it, because before I started meditating, I did personal development, and there it was more yeah, you know, like this
I just
where
like how you say development, Eva. You say it again. Go on.
personal development. Oh my goodness. I hope people know what I mean.
Yeah,
No,
they do. Of course they
yeah,
do.
but it's like, okay, if you change your way of thinking, then life will be easier. But it's not that easy. There's
Sure.
just more to it. That's what I just wanted to share. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Have we finished this, or can we move on?
Yeah, we can move on. Yes.
Okay, okay. So no more personal development. Okay, so I have a great question here. How important is the body on this path? Can you talk about diet and keeping the body healthy for awakening or healing?
Yeah, that's a really good question as well.
Yeah, I love it. Do you want to
Yeah.
start?
Yes, I can start. Um, I mean, when I started to meditate, I was already eating plant-based. And when I started to read, you know, I didn't read a lot, but I have a few books about meditation and the spiritual path. I always stepped on the topic nutrition. And a lot of teachers then said, okay, don't eat meat and dairy products, but mostly meat. Like some of them, they say dairy is fine, but mostly meat. I mean, because I didn't eat that stuff anyways, I didn't really care about it, right? So I didn't really think about it. And I had to give up certain foods along the way, like coffee, refined sugar. I mean, I still eat a little bit, but you know, a lot of that, also fatty foods. It's just certain things just fell away.
Yeah.
Of course, no alcohol, no cigarettes, no, nothing of that kind
No
anyway.
narcotics.
No. Yeah, so I just think a clean diet is very important for the system to be able to hold the energies to transform. Yeah, but it's also very individual. So everybody should really listen to their body, what feels good and what doesn't feel good. That's the only indicator. So there's nothing really, okay, there's this one diet and this will work for everybody. It's more like, okay, I have to figure out what works for me. And if I feel really tired after a certain food, I can stop eating it because then apparently it doesn't serve me. So that's my mindset about it.
Yeah, and I'll just briefly
Experience.
go over mine, because my background was nutrition. I had a nutritional company, and I was always very interested in sports and the body, and you know, I used to do all these different diets. And as I started to go through my awakening, this whole thing of like caring about my body sort of fizzled out a bit. It was just like, oh, I was like, this is amazing. I don't care. I don't care about anyone's opinion. I don't have to worry about how I look like. And then I ended up getting a bit lazy, and I gained a lot of weight, and I just sat on the sofa enjoying my new freedom, this boundless awareness that had just awoken in me. And I just, this contractedness that always needed to do more and achieve more completely fell away. So for me, I enjoyed a period of time of just not doing a whole lot. It wasn't until about a year or two into my awakening that I had a vision. Basically, my whole life was planned out for me. Okay, I was told that the work I was doing wasn't my work, my true work. My true work was working with the energy in the spine. And then they showed me how the chakras were like pools of water along the spine, and that by me eating meat, because I was a big meat eater, that some of the pools weren't able to connect. So if you could imagine that the pools were connected by little moving streams or rivers of water, that some of them had become stagnant and the energy couldn't move between them. And they explained that this was down to me eating animal products. Okay, and they told me that I needed to stop eating all meats and all animal based products, so milk, cheeses, anything that came from an animal. I was told to stop eating, and I did.
Yeah.
The next day I cut it all out.
Mm-hmm.
And it definitely helped me. It definitely helped me. Now again, I had this obsessive thing with food where I was like, okay, I've cut out all of this protein, so I need to replace it with something. So I started eating loads and loads of carbohydrate and ended up gaining so much weight. So it wasn't like that the plant-based diet was healthy for me per se, but it was more like that my energetic system needed to cut out all the animal products to help the Kundalini rise. Now, I spoke to people who have gotten just intuitively that they need to eat meat to ground themselves going through a Kundalini awakening, which is the complete opposite of what I had. And I know people who continue to eat meat and don't have the best diets. But for me, that's what I was shown. So yeah, it's very individual.
Yes, it's very individual. And I mean, it's always great that you got like shown these things, right? So you had like this intuitive knowing, that's best for me, that's what I need to do. Yeah. I mean, before going vegan, for example, I tried a lot of different diets. So I like throughout my life from the age of 16, because I also didn't want to gain weight and stuff like that, you know. I just tried totally different kinds of diet, and they all were there for 1 or 2 years and then they fell away. They weren't serving. But now, because I actually look what I need and what serves me, this is a lot more sustainable. Before, it was more like I was doing because people said it would work. You know, I wasn't looking for how it makes me feel. So diet is really all about how does it make you feel? Does it make you feel heavy? Does it make you feel bloated? When I do the healing work, I couldn't have heavy foods, can't eat really in between sessions because I'm just getting tired, for example. Then I need to eat more in the evening or more in the morning. It always depends. Like every day is also different. And the more I do the healing work, the more I can see how important the body is, because I'm limitless. I don't have any limitations.
Yeah,
but my body has.
Yeah.
Yes. And now I have to figure out how to live with these limitations. And also, because like everything is expanding so fast, how can I now expand my body or help the body to keep up, so I can really see, and I was telling you this before actually, what kind of work you already did for your body by doing the fasting and everything, right? I can really see how this is important. Like I didn't see it back then when you did it. I just thought, okay, interesting, that's what you do. But now I see why. Holding these energies, working with these high dimensional energies, it's like you really need to have a clear system, and the system needs to change. It can't stay the same. Like it really has to change. And yeah, so I'm wondering how this is gonna manifest over the next few years, but I just know the system really needs to change. Yes,
the system needs to change, and these are for these the higher vibrational lights and transmissions that are coming in from the highest.
Yeah. I mean, it's not for the in manifestation for those lights.
Within
You don't need. I don't think you need it.
Shakti as well.
Yes, but like for the higher forces, that's just something totally different. Like it's totally different. Yeah.
It's a completely different thing, and this is something that's been coming in for both of us, right? These higher lights that are coming in, burning up people's karma, making an awful lot of change in people's systems. So okay, so what we're talking about is our limitations of having this human vessel or this human body, that we really need to upgrade the body to be able to hold them energies in our system, to be able to then share them with other people, right?
Yes, exactly. Because
eating less, eating smaller.
Yes, eating a lot less. And so when I say plant-based, what I mean is very healthy, natural foods. So like whole foods. So not like a vegan pizza. So I enjoy
and fresh fruits.
I enjoy vegan pizza, but you know what I mean. It's like, it's just to make that clear. And yes, so it's all about being able to hold these energies, to draw them in, and to transmit them, to help people. So that's
And we're not saying that you can't like you have to be vegan. You can still eat meat, right? And make great progress on the
so
path.
individual. Like if somebody is able, if somebody can do the work, and that the food is not interfering, perfect. But I know for me it is, so I have to make changes. So definitely.
And the same for me, Eva. The same for me. I mean, if I like, I haven't eaten sugar or caffeine in close to 12 years. And if I mistakenly ingest something that has refined sugar in it, white sugar, my consciousness becomes cloudy. I can't function right. If I eat a pizza with the kids once a week or something like that, I'm just like, oh my God, my system just doesn't like it. The energies don't flow the way they should flow.
Yeah. And I can also totally see now, by being exposed to the energies all day long because of doing sessions, right? My body just gets tired after a while when I don't eat. And that was so interesting when we were talking. I need to eat, right, to maintain and to also feel good and to have the energy. And with you doing the breatharian thing, you have the hunger, but your energy level is still there. And that's so fascinating to me.
So it's not even that I have the hunger, because the hunger just sort of like, I mean, the more you eat, the more the hunger comes in, and the less I eat, the less hunger I experience. So what works really well for me is just eating one meal a day. I eat at 2 o'clock, but I mean, I can go then pretty much the next day, fast from 2 o'clock all the way to the next day, get up, go for a run, do some sessions, and not need energy from food. It's just whatever's coming through my system, it energizes me. But again, I'm not recommending people go and copy me. This is just for my path. Part of it was that I had to cut food out to reset my system.
And you also got like the calling to do it, right? So you had that information. So that's what I say, like, always listen to your system. If there is something showing up for you, or you just know that you need to do it, you just do it. So it's very individual. For example, when I became vegan, I also did it just overnight. It just happened overnight. And I just wanted to add one more thing, because that might be interesting. I mean, I'm a woman, and it's always important to look after, the weight and to be skinny and stuff like that. So I always did a lot of sports and looked after what I eat. And for example, I had a lot of beliefs, wrong beliefs in my system. For example, okay, if I eat too much chocolate, oh my God, I'm gonna gain weight. So like this was on my mind all the time. I'm gonna
You eat
gain.
loads of chocolate, Eva.
But before the belief system.
Yeah.
And then I felt so bad, or when I had fatty foods, I felt so bad. And
Yeah.
I had a time in my life when I really wanted to control the weight, and all of that. I know a lot of women have it, but these are just the beliefs, and that's the problem. And then when they fall away, like they fell away eventually, then you can just eat whatever, and you're not gaining weight anymore. So
Yeah.
that's how I experience it. Of course, if I eat loads of food for 2-3 days, then I have a kilo more, but I don't care. I lose it again. But it's the beliefs that are like torture. Like they are like torture.
Yeah.
And you can't enjoy your normal food because there are these beliefs behind it, right? So I thought it was fascinating because I think it was the unity shift, or even a little bit before, it just fell away, and now I just eat whatever, but what serves me, what I feel I want to. So it's a totally different approach.
Yeah.
Just thought that might be interesting.
And I had it in the complete opposite, whereas I was always interested in going to the gym and eating lots. So I had this obsession with eating lots of really healthy foods and maintaining a certain level of muscle in my system. So, but again, this was just a program, a belief that it was running in me. And that once I took that out, and actually one of the things about doing that initiation that I did, where I stopped eating foods pretty much for 3 months. I did a breatharian initiation, and I lived on 4 8-ounce glasses of orange juice a day. And what it did was, it was a complete reset. And again, I'm not recommending anybody go do that. That was just what I had to do. It just reset my belief in that I need food for energy. And clearly I was drawing energy from somewhere. Now I know the orange juice was giving me about 350 calories a day from the liquids, but I was now surviving on pulling prana into my system. And that belief of needing to eat all the time for energy, it just fell away. So the beauty, I eat now. So for about the last 10 months, I started consuming food again. But the beauty is, I just have a lot more freedom around it. If I don't want to eat one day, I won't eat. If I want to have 2 meals a day, I'll have the 2 meals a day, or I'll just have a smoothie or something like that. So it's just the belief that I need to have 3, 4, 5 meals a day fell away. It was just a belief.
Yeah. I mean, it's fascinating for me that you did it. It's like, it's really fascinating, and good on you that you were able to do it, right? Yeah. But yeah, it's all about the belief systems that with food. Like they all fell away for you because you were like detached from food so long that they could just fall away. Yeah.
Fell away, and then it reset something in me, this belief around food. And I definitely believe that by me not eating, it had opened up my system for greater energies to come through, because
Yes.
all of my energy is not focused on digesting food. There was just so much more to heal and prepare my system for the greater frequencies coming in.
Yeah, very good.
Good.
Everybody's benefiting from you not eating.
Sure. Is there another question you want to go through? I don't know if we're going to get through all these questions, because my list is, I've got like loads.
Okay, then you go with one more.
I'll see what else I have. Okay, in your experience, where are the main areas aspirants tend to get stuck or delayed on the awakening process?
Okay, another really good one.
Yeah, really good.
Yeah.
Will I start?
Yeah, you start.
Okay, so one of the main things that I see, where I see people get stuck, is believing that they're further along than they actually are. I think that's a limitation, that they may think that they're further along, and then also believing that they're not worthy of having spiritual awakening. It's for someone else. It's for only a special select percentage of people on the planet. I'm not
Yeah.
worthy of it. So
Yes,
these are the
yes.
two that I see, is people jumping way further ahead, or else having a deep belief in their system that they're not worthy of having.
Yeah. So I definitely get them in my healing sessions. So people share that they have the experience, or I just see them in their system. I look why they're not progressing, and then I see. And there are just there are parts of them, they believe they're not worthy, like you say, for it doesn't necessarily have to do with spiritual awakening. There's just a part that believes they're not worthy of whatever. And this also contains the spiritual awakening, and then this part can be basically healed. So it's possible, so that this idea gets out of the system.
It's a belief.
Yeah, it's a belief.
It's
It's like
just a
with the
belief.
weight. Yeah, it's a belief.
It's
Yes.
just a belief, and belief, having a belief is just like accepting something as truth without having an actual fact. So somehow you get an idea into your head that this is all there is, there's nowhere to progress, and then you're stuck there because
Yes.
of that limiting belief.
Yes, because of that belief, and then also because of concepts. So people who read a lot of books or have been with a lot of teachers, and I'm not, everybody does whatever they feel drawn to, and that's fine. But then there are a lot of ideas in the system. So how it's supposed to be, and why am I not having the same experience, or why is my experience different to the comparison as well with other fellow meditators, for example. And these also can be blockages, and these are just concepts, because we build a concept. Okay, what is spiritual awakening? And then we just experience, like, within this small concept, this is our reality. But this can be removed as well, or replaced with a more serving concept. Let's say it like that, until there are no concept, because there need to be concepts until there are none, or different ones. So this is also a big one.
Yeah, and sometimes I see people having great openings in my meditations, in the group, and they're there like 100% when the energies are flown, they are in that experience. They are that experience, okay? And then what I see, not everybody, but I see some people, they'll come out of it after having an opening of some sort, and then they'll want to conceptualize what just happened. So it's like they've gone from having the experience to then coming back into their body and then trying to build a model that they can examine. And the model is not it's a model. It's like they're trying to write about it. They're conceptualizing it. They're trying to like figure out what happened. And that's pulled them away from the direct experience, right?
Yeah. I mean, that's why I really like your approach. It's all about the experience, it's about having the experiences and, enjoying them, but then also letting them go. It's not so much about the teachings and stuff, although there's importance in teachings as well, a certain amount. But because the mind, of course, the mind is in the way a lot. That's the thing. The mind wanting to figure it out, the mind wanting, or knowing, oh, I think I have it. I think I'm there. I know it better. And this is like you're blocking what else can come in, or the openings, you're actually blocking them. Yeah,
you've just stepped out of the direct experience and you're back in the mind, trying to figure out how to get back into the direct experience. Or
there were experiences a few years ago and people want to have them back. So that's also
actually that's very useful, because that's something that I get a lot. Is 10 years ago I had this awakening and everything opened up and I was in unity, and then it closed back down again, and they're always striving to get back to that moment. So how I see this, the opening is really good because it gives people something to work towards, right? But it's a difference to then holding on to the experience and wanting to have the same experience again, because you will never have the same experience again. They're just unique. One experience happens, you experience it, it's happening, and then you move on, basically. So and the larger consciousness system doesn't really give a damn about you having great experiences, does it, Eva? It's sort of like it'll give you that experience as a learning process, like a carrot on a stick, to get you interested then to progress along your journey. And along that journey is going to be some tough tough, healings and lessons that are going to come that you wouldn't necessarily want to embark on without that nice idea of spiritual awakening at the end, or enlightenment.
Yeah, I mean, the experiences are there to help you to move forward. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that you're motivated. And they're I mean, they're beautiful, but it's not, and they will be all different for everybody as well. So again, comparison. People have expectations, like they think, oh, if I experience bliss, it must be in a certain kind of way. But it's then when they experience it, oh, it's totally different. Or even like going to Unity, I think we talked about that before, but just saying it again, it can be different than you think. So
and like the words and everything that we use to describe these states, it can never be that state, right? We can read all the spiritual quotes in the world, we can talk about it, discuss it, sit here and debate, but it's never it. It's just pointing towards something, right?
Yes. Yeah, the words are very limiting, right? So we have
totally limiting.
We for example, bliss. We talk about bliss and we use this one word, but there are so many aspects, can be experienced in different ways, different body parts, and with all the other things as well. Yeah. So
I totally agree. Shall we move on from that one?
Yes, let's move on.
Okay, there's a few there. What books were most useful along your path, Eva? I didn't. Yeah, maybe it's a good one.
Yeah. Let me think for a second. Let me think. So, the first book that I wrote when I started going to your group was the LOC 1000. It's a book with 700 pages, and I remember reading that, and I didn't understand anything. Like, I didn't understand anything, but I thought by reading this, I will figure it out. I thought the more pages I read, the more I will figure it out. But I didn't at all. So I just want to share. It was fascinating because it was 700 pages. I was reading a long time, but in the end, I wasn't smarter or had more knowingness than before at all. So
I think. So this question, I was almost going to I was just kind of going to, quickly go past it, but I think it's actually really useful in bringing us somewhere that you can't figure out these states. We can't read about them and go, because I remember reading David Buckland's book, and I, he talks about the 7 stages of enlightenment. And I think I was probably, I'd gone through maybe, the one of the states he talks about is witnessing consciousness, and then he goes to cosmic consciousness, and then he goes to God consciousness. And I read through them first 3 chapters, and I was like, yep, there. Then I got to unity consciousness, and it didn't make sense to me. It just didn't. I was reading it and I was like, well, I don't have a direct experience of what the author is talking about. So I was like, but I didn't dismiss it, because then there was other states beyond unity. There was I think he talked about Brahman consciousness, he talked about para-Brahman, but I never dismissed anything. So do you want to talk a little bit about like reading books and not being able to figure it out through because we can't, right? We can't until we have that direct experience. Yeah.
So the book you're talking about, I was reading as well. And when I was at a certain stage, I don't remember, he talks about the God consciousness and the unity. And I was reading them both, both chapters. And I was like confused, where am I at, because I wasn't very sure, because he used different words than maybe I would use. So it was a bit confusing as well, but it was just good to know that there is like these concepts of those levels. And that's a thing, that's just something people have experienced before. So it was helpful from that point of view. But what I really enjoyed are books with transmissions in it, audiobooks. For example, Lauren Hoff, I really like his work. what is the book called?
The Incredible Reality of
Yeah,
You.
Incredible
And it's a
Reality of You.
beautiful transmission. Yeah.
Yes, there's a transmission in it. So that's why I really liked it also in the audios. And I mean, your book has a transmission.
My book has a
well.
transmission
Yes.
because when I was writing the book,
Yeah.
the energy that was coming in when I was writing, I was like, oh, it's not so much about the story, it's about the energy that's coming through in the words. When people go to read it, then they can connect with the transmission.
Exactly. So they get both, you know, they get some information and they get the energy. So I don't know, I always found this very helpful. Or I really enjoyed Madame Mira's books. So she has like question and answers, and they're very simple.
So simple, right?
But the thing is, they're more of the truth than we can ever imagine, you know. She's just able to put this in the simplest words, and she's so right, you know what I mean? Like, and I also like it because it doesn't matter in which level of consciousness you are, you will get what you need from just these simple answers. Like, because reading a book from, let's say, LOC 500 or 600, and then let's say Unity, the book has a totally different meaning.
Totally different meaning.
Yeah.
So Eva, like, and I'm
can I just say one thing?
Absolutely.
So I was reading the book of, what's his name? Just 1 second. You know, the one everybody's reading, Living in the Now.
Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah. And I was reading this like, let's say 10 years ago. And it's a book I probably didn't really understand, right? Or I hardly understood it. And then I read it, let's say 3 years ago. And then I thought, oh my God, you know, I finally understand what he's talking about. And that was so exciting, because before I couldn't even understand it.
Yeah. Okay. And what I was going to say is that some of the concepts that we're talking about, people can't understand them because they just can't. Like, they have no concept of what Brahman is. Or para-Brahman, or when we talk about the Divine Mother, they literally have no clue what that is.
No, now you can't, because it can only be experienced, and then you put it into words, you say the Divine Mother, but what does it actually mean? I mean, it's like the same with having a food you've never had before. You know, I can describe it, a taste of, I don't know, vanilla ice cream, but if you've never had it, you're just not gonna know. Even if I use like hundreds of words of describing that ice cream. So yeah.
And what I would say to people is that not to get hung up on these states, and not to strive to get to something that you don't have already. You just sort of put it in. You never dismiss anything because you don't have all the answers. So it's like you take that, and you don't have the information. You don't have your own data, direct experience at that state. So what you do is you say, okay, well, I don't have it. I don't know much about it, but I'm not going to dismiss it straight away. I'm going to just put it aside for a little while in this interesting group, and I'll revisit when I make progress, when I have my own, when I've gathered my own information, when I've done my own diving further into this.
I mean, I've never worked with anybody who feels he's done, because otherwise they wouldn't come to me. So I don't really know, like, but I've heard that there are people out there, they think, okay, that's it, where they at. And I mean, I guess maybe that's just for them, that's where they were supposed to go, and that's totally fine. But like, it's not I don't experience people like that, because people I work with, they always want to evolve, they want to transform, they want to experience more. And so it's that's just how I.
And I guess, Eva, that when you do think that you're done, or you've reached a certain level and that's all that there is, you've pretty much reach the cul-de-sac. You've sealed yourself in. Your potential to grow further has been limited by that belief that's all there is.
because then it's done. You can't move further. Yes.
There's no more. There's no, the idea that there's something greater than where it's like Tom Campbell uses the analogy of the bacteria in your stomach, right? They're all in your stomach. They have their own little lives. They're doing what they do, but they have no idea what's outside of that stomach. They have no concept of rain or sunshine, but it's all there. You know, it's the same with the same with 2D shapes. The 2D shape has no idea that there's a 3D world out there. It's like, oh, that's ridiculous. that
Yes.
concept is ridiculous.
Yeah, and I feel if people are on the spiritual path and they think they have figured it out or they know everything, this is one of the greatest blockages to this, also the spiritual ego, because there is just no openness, and if there is no openness, nothing more can come in.
Nothing more can come in.
So it's also the same with the spiritual ego. Yes,
your glass is full. You cannot pour any more into that glass, because it'll just overflow.
But I mean, if these people are happy where they're at, perfect, you know.
Yes,
so that's totally fine. It's just making aware that that's a thing, and nobody's ever finished, ever.
There's no finish.
That's what you think, and that's what I see.
I mean, you can have a certain realization, you know, where your awareness can realize its potential, but the being can always evolve into greater states, endless possibilities, right? More love, more compassion, more willingness to help.
Yes, I mean, and then like from there is just so much more we don't know yet, right? So we listen to our podcast in a few years.
Yes. So and again, even the name that we've chose is endless. It's endless. There's no end. You know, when you think there's an end of something, I'm experiencing every day. I have to learn so much. I've never learned so much in my life than in the past few months. And I know it's just the beginning, the very small beginning. So it's always. Yeah, Eva, I have a whole list of more questions, really great questions. I don't think we're going to get through them. So
it's already really long anyways.
I know, and what we can do is we can do a part 2 of this as well. We can come back and do a part 2, revisit some of the other questions. So some great questions.
I have some really good ones, and actually I have one, and I thought we maybe want to like talk a bit more about it, because I really like this one.
I have
it's
8
about
minutes.
8 minutes.
I have 8 minutes.
Okay, then we'll probably finish. Okay. All right. So
do you want to really quickly?
No, because
we'll do it in the next one.
This is a question where I feel like I want to have some time and I want to talk about it more. And there was a reason why I didn't ask or didn't read it out today. It was a good one.
We'll do a part 2, and we'll dedicate time to this.
Yes.
So, on that note, we'll finish up. So thank you very much, Eva. This has been another amazing podcast with you.
Yeah, it was so nice. And now we talked about questions we've also haven't talked about before, I think. Or it was very refreshing to get all these questions, and it was great to talk to you and to share what we know and what we have experienced. So
exactly, and just to say thank you to everybody for tuning in and watching these episodes. And I mean, the first 2 that we've done have gotten quite a lot of views and so many positive comments. Yes, and it's amazing. And I hope, and just if it's possible, share these. Don't feel, if you want to share them with friends who you think who would be interested in this, please do, because it will really help get that message out there as well, right?
Yeah. So I also got like very, very good feedback, and people thought were sharing that they had certain learnings or openings, or just whatever we said, it really resonated with them. And also the energy that comes through is really nice, because there is also a transmission in this recording, so you're receiving double, not just the talking.
So it's not just information. There is an exchange of energy that's going on when Eva and I are talking.
Yeah, exactly. So and people loved it. So and thank you very much also for watching and listening, and please do share, and so that we can just bring this out there. And I'm very grateful that we have this opportunity and that we're doing it. So
me too. Eva, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you guys.
All right.
Okay.
Bye everybody.
Bye.
Bye.